Hello, my name is Molly Geiger of Design Right For You out of Jacksonville, Florida, and today we are hanging out with the Inventors Assistance League. I am a Google Small Business Community Advisor and also a Google Partners Ambassador, and I have the distinct honor of speaking with the CEO of the Inventors Assistance League, Dr. Jeremy Horn. Hi, Jeremy. How are you today?
Hello. How are you, Molly? Good to see you.
Doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our hangout. Just want to reach out to our live audience who's watching the broadcast that if you have any questions or comments, we will be able to post those to our event page. And so with that being said, I'd like, Jeremy, if you could just quickly introduce yourself and tell us just a little information about the Inventors Assistance League. And I have the distinct honor of speaking with the CEO of the Inventors Assistance League.
I'm getting a recording over this.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you today?
Hello. How are you, Molly? Good to see you.
Doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our hangout. Just want to reach out to our live audience who's watching the broadcast that if you have any questions or comments, we will be able
we got voiceovers on these.
And so, with that being said, do you have the event page open, Jeremy? Because if you do have the event page open, there's going to be a delay. And I have the distinct honor of speaking with the CEO of the Inventors.
I'm getting a recording over this.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you today?
This is confusing. I don't know when to speak.
Yeah, so what you'll want to do is you'll want to close the event page because it's actually broadcasting the event, which would cause an audio delay.
I can't. I'm here. I still hear. I can't talk. I mean, it just. What is it? Do you hear all that?
I do. And like I mentioned, if you have the event page open in another browser or another window, you're going to get that audio delay. So you're going to need to close that page out.
Okay. What do I? Did you hear all? I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, well, you just closed the event page, so now we don't have that audio delay. But just real quick, I see we have a couple more viewers who have attended our event. I just want to quickly, we had some technical issues there in the beginning. We had a slight audio delay, but I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Molly Geiger of Design Right For You out of Jacksonville, Florida. And today we are talking with the CEO of the Inventors Assistance League, Dr. Jeremy Horn. Hey, Jeremy, how are you doing today?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our event. And I just want to let our live viewers know that if you have any questions or comments, please be sure and post them to the event page as we will be checking during the event. And if you have questions, getting those questions answered. So with that, I want to turn it over to Jeremy. I know the Inventors Assistance League has a very unique, I guess, technique for inventors where they're able to take inventors who have an idea and literally walk them step by step through the patent process and even taking their invention to the next level when they're ready to market it towards retail and social channels. So just really quickly, if you could just tell us a little bit about the Inventors Assistance League. I know they've been around since 1962. Can you just give us a little bit of history about the Inventors Assistance League?
Yeah, there was a guy named Ted DeBoer, and he had the idea of going out. He was an inventor himself, and he would associate with other inventors, and back then you could write in a notebook your ideas, keep them secret, and then ultimately go ahead and market the ideas. And to show evidence that you were the creator of an invention, you could simply open up your notebook, and there it was. You'd have witnesses and everything else. And that sufficed for a number of decades. But he got the idea, well, wait a minute, ultimately these people may want to get a patent or a provisional patent application. So he said, well, why don't I become a patent agent? And that's what he did. So he went to wherever school to do that, and he got registered with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office as a patent agent after passing exams and so forth. And then for a number of years, he ran the organization as a patent agent, and the idea was to go around the southwest of the United States, in particular California, holding all these meetings with inventors and so forth. And he started the Inventors Assistance League, and that's how it came to be. For a number of decades, this worked up until he died in 2005. And then after 2005, everything kind of bumped along, and we had this program that was about something like 210 pages of hard copy of taking your invention to market. And in essence, a person would write in this notebook and keep their ideas secret and so forth. And when they were ready to do something, then they would go ahead and mark it and stuff like that. All of that changed radically with the America Invents Act in 2011, which became effective in 2012. That meant that act says that an inventor, or somebody who thinks they're an inventor, has to file with the United States Patent and Trademark Office evidence that they have actually invented something, that they are the original creators and so forth. You could do that in the form of a provisional application for patent, also called a provisional patent application, or you can go ahead and file a regular patent. The latter, which is really not advisable because it sets everything where, first of all, it's very expensive, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on up. And then once you file a patent, then you're committed to it. You can't make changes or anything else. You can file the provisional patent application, which gives you the same patent pending status as the filing of a regular patent. And that's good for a year. And then once that year is in transition, you have a chance to go out and try to market the invention. After a year, you should have some idea whether or not that thing is marketable or not. So that's how everything has changed. Now, that means that if you're going to be filing something with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, it has to be done right. That means you have to go out and find out whether somebody else has invented the same thing or something like it. That means you've got to do a patent search. And you have to also see whether or not that invention basically fulfills United States USPTO guidelines. That means, is it useful? Is it socially useful? Does it have a function? Does it have utility? All these other things. Then once you do all that, do your patent search. If there indeed is what they call no prior art, then you could go on and write the provisional patent application. You have to be very precise about this, and it's not like it was before so much. You could kind of scribble something in a notebook. Even then, you had to have the description correct. But now you actually have to file something. Now, what happens after a year? You can quote renew that PPA as long as you haven't shown anybody the invention. You've kept that an absolute secret. They don't really want you to know that, but you can do that. But let's say if you've demonstrated it, then you have to file for a regular patent. Now that means what they do is they take your PPA, which is normally not open, but when they do open that to convert it into a regular patent, the description has to be good, and that's the important thing. If that description is not correct, you will not get a patent. That means it takes a good technical writer and a good knowledge of the language and on and on and on to create one of these things. Now what happens is that you prepare the provisional patent application, file it with the USPTO for $65 as a micro entity. That means you earn under $150,000 a year. You file this thing, and then you get an acknowledgement from the USPTO, and now you've got patent pending status. Now you can go out and within that year period, go ahead and try to market this thing. So this all means that you have to follow 3 steps in this order, and they have to be separate. You have to evaluate the invention, which means you do your search and all the other stuff. The second thing is you file a PPA, get your acknowledgement, that's your protection, and then you go out and try to market the invention. You know, a lot of people don't tell you that. They will go out there and say, well, look, we got an invention, we'll evaluate it, and they'll come back and say, oh, it's patentable, it's marketable, and stuff like that. Nobody can tell you that. And if they do, they're just either dishonest, it's a fraud, or whatever it may be. But nobody can tell you whether or not it's patentable or anything else except the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and even then, there are cases that are taken to court over that. So that is the ultimate determinant, the courts. So that's how precise it is. We tell everybody.
Wow.
Now, for all under $1,000, you can do this whole shooting match. You can go in for $250. You can go in there and get a decent patent search. And it's something that'll tell you whether or not that thing is patentable or not. There are other things we can do. We can send it out to a lawyer, and that adds another $100, $200 onto that. And then you go out and do the the technical writing description of the PPA. We can do that for about $250 there too. You can either do it yourself, or you can go at any time say, oh, I'm really stuck, I don't know what to do. You can come to us and have us write the thing. We submit it. Now, if you want the lawyer to sign off on it, it'll be a little bit more. But that's really usually not very necessary because the USPTO never opens these things. And you just say, okay, this is a good technical writing description that most people who are half confident when they write the actual patent can deal with it. Then you can go out and market it. and we've got a marketing program for about $250 as well. So we're talking about basically those three packages together. The basic package is all in $1,000. And that is a lot less than all these other people saying, oh, well, we will want $800 up here. And I've seen this. We've had several members come to us and say, oh my God, I paid $6,000. There was one that talked with $7,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was absolutely horrified. And then I had one guy who came to me. He had a PPA. He said he wanted a PPA done. I did a quick patent search, and it was already there. But he said, well, this is patentable. I said, how do you know? The lawyer told me. Send me the lawyer a letter. He sent me the letter. I looked at it. Yeah, it was a lawyer in Florida, and oh, it was patentable. Anything is patentable, possibly. You don't. First of all, you can't tell that it is patentable. It doesn't mean you're going to get a patent.
Right.
And you can have small variant, and then you see the stuff all the time. But if you have that, it's going to be a lot harder to market something like that, and it's going to be a lot harder to tell anybody the advantages of what you've got. I like to back up and say, look. This thing, I look at it and I see there are things out there like it. I'll do the evaluation. You may or may not get a patent, but the closer it is to anything else, the harder it is. It's going to be a patent, and you're going to have the marketing problem. We tell people right out of the box what that's all about. The technical writing description, we'll write the PPA, we'll put it together, and if you want a lawyer to verify it and have them take the liability, great. We're not lawyers, but I've been a technical writer myself for a good 20-some odd years. Well, more than that, it goes back to 1990 actually. Plus academic background. So we have a fairly good platform to do all this. I think it's a good platform, actually, not a fairly good one, because we've had this validated. And so we have that three-step process. We had the protection, or we had first of all the evaluation, protection, and the marketing. And that is all in a logical order. So people know what to do. If they don't pass the first step, of the evaluation, then there's no sense doing a PPA, and we tell them that right out of the box. This thing has got prior art, you're going to have a hard time patenting it, and then we do the PPA, then we guarantee we get a PPA status. That means you get acknowledgement from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to do that, and then you're ready to go market. Doesn't mean that you're going to get a patent, but we raise the odds that you will get a patent. And that's how we do it.
Well, and I think that's so important too, because in my industry, I do website design and development, graphic design, search engine optimization, and that's like me saying, well, I can get you on page one, number one. Well, I don't know that. And so I think your organization is a little different than the others, where instead of just saying, oh, yeah, we can get your idea patented, we'll take it to the, we'll get it out there, you really take the inventor's idea and say, well, is this even feasible? Is this something that we can even get through the very first phase, which is the patent search? So that's definitely very interesting, and I appreciate you sharing that information and explanation on the patenting process. Just real quick for our live viewers, I want to let you know that if you have any comments or questions, please post them to the event page. Later on during our presentation, I will be posting an invitation link to join our after show. So if you have any questions for myself or for Dr. Jeremy Horn, maybe you're working on an invention, we would love for you to stop by during the after show and chat. So with that being said, go ahead, Jeremy.
A couple other things. One, our emails, my email is on the front of the webpage as well. So if you have any at any time, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you have an idea, oh my goodness, go ahead and email me. I always check my emails. I will say this about the creative process. I'm going to be very honest, and this comes as a shock to a lot of people. But I will say this very honestly. The vast majority of stuff that comes across my desk has prior art. I will tell you that if I see it. And there's some humorous examples, but some of the stuff is not publishable. But I'll say that I've seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's one. Should I say this? I don't know.
I can only imagine what comes across your desk.
This thing right here was a vacuum cleaner to pick up dog feces. There's certain days of the week that, I'm very busy. I get cranky. Molly knows this better than I do even. And I'll see something like that come across my desk. And I don't mean belittle the person. I understand the great attempts. But, I'm going to let things lie where they are. They are found, if you get my drift. Right. There are other things, there are other humorous things. But I'm going to tell people right and honestly that I don't know, does it have utility? Is something like that out there? I suppose I could take my vacuum cleaner and, well, anyway, go with it and we'll find out what it does. So I'm saying that you've got to look at the what you really have. Now, I'll tell you this. Everything that we do is validated by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And the why I say that is if you go to their website, they will not say this in as many words, but they will say that you need to do the patent search. These are the criteria for patentability, utility, and everything else. You can read it for yourself, and we even have links to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in our literature. I send people right to that page so they can read it for themselves. And then once they do that, say, okay, does it pass evaluation? Then they will come right out of the box. The same thing about the PPA. They tell you what it is, and that description is going to be as complete and precise and accurate as possible. They'll tell you the same thing we're telling you. So all we're doing is kind of regurgitating their words. So what we're doing is telling you what the PTO does in different words with the same substance. So that could be validated. And then you can go to the marketing, which is a billion-dollar industry, and there are all kinds of weird things you could do with that, and I've seen those things. So that's what we do. So it all can be validated. That's what's so neat about it. So you don't need to take the word of any of these other inventors' organizations. Go to the PTO website and read it for yourself. That's what we do. We facilitate that.
That's a great idea, and I think just to touch upon a couple of points that you made that, you know, and I can only imagine, because I mean, I've never personally come up with an idea for an invention, but I have known of people who have, and their number one concern is oh, I don't want anybody to steal my idea. You know, I want to work with an organization that will handle my invention with the confidentiality and the trust that needs to be established. And I think that the process that you've described about, you know, you're direct to this office that has this information, you're mirroring exactly each step, each policy, each procedure to honestly get the inventor the help that they need to take their invention to the next level. Something else I just would like to touch upon is the fact, the transparency that you are insinuating that, you know, we want to follow it by the book. We want to follow it by the T. And working with an organization, I'm kind of like you. I have people sometimes that come to me and they have these crazy ideas for a website, and I'll just tell them up front that's, you know, what you're trying to do is just not feasible. So I think that's really important for an organization like yourself, where you can trust the fact that, you know, you've got over 50 years experience. This is not some brand new inventor's gamut. It's something that's legitimate. It's bona fide. It's something that an inventor with an idea really can go contact the Inventors Assistance League. In fact, real quick, I want to share with the audience, the Inventors Assistance League has a 24-page pamphlet document that you can download direct from their website. And when you download this information, it has a lot of really great insights. Again, this is totally free. You can just go to inventions.org. And I'm going to do a quick screen share of their brand new website and show you exactly where you can go to get this information. So if you just bear with me real quick, I'm going to do a screen share and present to our audience, and then show you exactly where you can go to get this information. So we're on the Inventors Assistance League website. There's their toll-free number right here. If you have any questions, pick up a phone, give them a call. We have inventor counselors available to speak with you about your invention, confidentially, of course. In addition to that, I want to point out that we're doing something new today. It's called a Google Hangout on Air. And something that's really unique about a Google Hangout on Air is you can actually embed it on the website. So every week, every Friday, we're going to be doing these hangouts about the Inventors Assistance League and featuring different guests. Going back to the website, though, here's just some general information about the Inventors Assistance League. We do serve a worldwide audience. This is something not just limited to the United States or Canada. We do serve a worldwide audience. And this is the section of the website I wanted to call your attention to, the inventor diagnostics information, what every inventor needs to know. It's a 24-page document, $50 value on the process of taking your invention to the next level. You just click on the green download button and grab it right off the website. And then if you have any questions, after you read the pamphlet, we've got the local and toll-free number for you to give them a call. You can also, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, email him direct. His email is jeremy@inventions.org. Again, that email address is jeremy@inventions.org. Here are just a few of the firms. If you get a chance to go to the website, you'll see there's some pretty well-known groups that the Inventors Assistance League has worked with. In addition, there's several videos that they've done showcasing them being spotlighted in the news or featuring inventors. And then the section that Jeremy was talking about, the three-step process, this is the member services area of the website where you can, right from the website, get some basic information. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always call toll-free and get information about the process. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremy, and let's get some additional insights on exactly what would an inventor do if they're just not sure. I mean, maybe they just have an idea, but they're not really sure if they want to take it to the next level. What would you recommend to that person who's maybe just kicking an idea around?
All right. Well, first of all, I wanted to add something about that booklet they're downloading. First of all, you got to understand what the process is, and I keep repeating it like a mantra. The evaluation, protection, and the marketing. You've got to understand what those processes are. I'd urge everybody to read that book page to page and almost memorize it, because that's really what you have to do. If anybody tells you differently, they're telling you wrong. I'm telling you, I'll be ideological about it, and that's what it is. Now, the second thing is that can I do it? Okay, what I did, and I found out, and this is one of our things we did in the past that you might have gotten away with, but you can't do that now. You have to know what you're doing. How do I know that what I know, whether I can do it or not? The patent search is very, very critical. And that means if you go ahead and do all this other stuff and put all the time, effort, and money into marketing invention without getting the PPA, and if you don't do the search in order to get the PPA, then you've lost everything. Time, money, I don't know what else. Now, what I'm saying is that you have to take that diagnostic. Can I do the search? There are a lot of people there are a lot of things in that search, especially the PTO searches, are very complicated. And there are professional patent examiners that do searches that even I look at and say, oh God, I don't know if I can do that. Most of the searches I can come up with prior art, because I'll be quite blunt. Again, a lot of people's ideas are already out there. And I'll tell you the truth. But when you get into something fairly complicated, if the idea is very critical to you and that your whole life depends upon it, you'll need a professional patent search. And we have people who can do that, who have the graduate engineering degrees, and they will sign off on it, have an attorney sign off on it, and you can do that. Now, I think they run about $350 or something like that. And that might be well worth it if it's really critical to you. Most searches, the common sense patent search is good enough. Now, so what you do, you take the diagnostic, and can you do that kind of a search, or academic searches and stuff like that? So after the diagnostic, you can say, okay, well, I think I can probably do that. So you go ahead and try it. If you find you have trouble, then you can always go over and have us do it, because that's included in the price of the program. Now, you go to the next one. Once you do the search, and if you're satisfied that that search is okay, then what happens, you do the PPA. Now, I have in my documentation, if I'm going to be doing a PPA, I'm going to have a waiver from you saying that you're satisfied with the search for whatever reason. That a little birdie told you had a lawyer do it or whatever it may be, but I need to know that you're satisfied that that search is okay. It doesn't come up with prior art. So then I do the PPA. Again, you can do the real super Cadillac version, and you have the lawyer do it, or I can go ahead and write the thing, and then that's more than that, because I never even open the PPAs. That description should be good enough for somebody to pick up that documentation and do exactly what you did and describe it the way you describe it. So in other words, I can take the document, the PPA, I pick up the PPA, and then under the U.S. Patent and Trademark rules, I can actually duplicate that invention without your intervention. You don't need to explain anything to me. The documentation is sufficient. That is the criterion for a PPA, with the drawings and everything else. They don't need to be professional or anything else. So then, can you do that? Well, are you a technical writer? Have you produced manuals that are wide use and this kind of stuff? And if you can answer all those questions with an affirmative, then you could probably do a PPA. If not, I would advise having it done for you. Once you get the acknowledgement that from the PTO that you filed this thing, then you're ready to go market. And we have 2 or 3 outlets in the market. You can go to we can go to Karen. We can have her take you through a course, a couple of courses that we have available there. Or we have actually, and this is very recent, we have a person out in Florida who can actually do a prototype for you. They can do a design and they can do the marketing. And we have somebody in Mexico who can do that as well. And we're working with somebody in Mexico right now who can do that. So have one or two alternatives. They got different services and stuff like that. But in essence, we can have it done for you. Now that stuff gets costly, and it'll be costly for anybody to do that. But if you really want to go that far and get the prototype done, and get the marketing out there, and you don't want to do it yourself, these people will do it for you for a professional fee, which is just common sense. So we've got.
Well, and I would add to that just real quickly. I think that's part of the mystery of an inventor, because I mean it's one thing to come up with the idea, but the different steps that you've outlined, I think that's where people they kind of maybe get confused or not really sure the right direction to go. And what I really like about this particular program is it's in modules. It's not just a one-time lump fee. Here it is, and go work with it yourself. It's literally a program where you work at your own pace. There's free information right from the get-go on, identifying if your idea or your invention is even patentable. Even at that point, if it is, and you decide to move forward, you move forward at your own pace. And regarding the marketing, I totally get that, because in my world, in the digital world, when I market a website, there are so many different digital marketing strategies that are out there right now. It can just be confusing. In fact, a lot of people come to me and they're just like, I don't understand what search engine optimization is. I don't understand what AdWords are. I don't know, but I know I need it. So I think by having vehicles and programs available to the inventors after they've gone through all the outlined steps of getting their invention searched, patented, prototype put in place, and market it, towards not only the retail sector, which is what Karen's specialty is. She markets towards the retail sector, like your Walmarts.
She does wholesale too. It's the licensing thing. She has a whole course on the licensing, which we'd recommend to try first. But she does both.
Right. And so being that you've got her marketing towards the retail and the wholesale market, but at the same time you still offer the inventor the opportunity to have their invention marketed, say, on social media or by using AdWords or using search engine optimization. It really, for me, if I was an inventor and I really wasn't sure where to start, I would definitely be interested in learning more about what the Inventors Assistant League has to offer, because it's a very comprehensive package. It's no commitment. There's no contracts. It is a work-as-you-go process. So thanks again, Jeremy, for sharing those insights.
And I think, that booklet, what every inventor needs to know, it should be fairly comprehensive. And but again, those three steps are very critical: evaluation, protection, and marketing. If you commit that to memory as a mantra, I'm going to do this, then that, I think you'll be on the right path.
Exactly. And I mean, the name of the booklet, what every inventor needs to know. I mean, it's very self-explanatory. It's a great title. And, I think when an inventor, they come up with an idea, they take the time to come up with an idea, but they want to protect the idea. That's the whole point, is until we can get it, presentable to the public with the retail, the wholesale sector, you have to protect your idea, because there is that element of, I don't want people to take my idea. So I think your course outlines that very well, and I definitely invite everyone watching the live broadcast, and maybe those who are watching in Replay City, to go to inventions.org. That's INVENTIONS.org, and download the pamphlet, what every inventor needs to know.
Now, one more thing I want to say too. You might want to tack onto this. I have found out in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been approaching the small business development centers in various places and business incubators. And I'm finding out, these people in Florida who reached out to us, which is rather interesting. Now we've got a contract with them. But they reached out to us, and to a last person. They were saying, we have all these inventors out there with all this stuff, they're displaying this stuff, and they don't know what to do, and they haven't gotten a patent or anything else. I said, stop right there. And one, it was so bad that actually people in Mexico will also reach out to me. I said, emergency, you don't show that thing to anybody. I'm writing a PPA right now. You need to do that right now. Stop. Don't even let that thing out of the door. And so you treated it as a what do you call it, purebred cat. You don't let that thing out the door so it can get fleas. So you got to keep that thing inside the house. So all these SBDCs are saying the same thing. Well, we got all these people doing that and the other. So they begin to reach out to us and saying, wait a minute, what do we do? What do we do? Evaluate and protect. And so we, again, repeat that mantra, you protect. So there are a lot of people out there who you think you would know, but they don't. Even these are business people. These are small business development centers and the business incubators. So that's what we're
Right.
doing. We're out there to fill the gap. We got a long road ahead to do this, I can tell you.
Well, and that's a really good point that you brought up, that, maybe some of these inventors are going to their small business development centers. And so that's a great idea to reach out to those organizations just to let them know, hey, we're here. We are a little bit different than most of these other invention organizations, meaning, like you said, evaluate and patent. Evaluate and patent. Those are the two key things, because your analogy of a purebred cat, well, you don't want to let it out. You want to protect that animal in the sense of the invention, the same process. And I find, and again, this is just my 2 cents. I think for a lot of inventors, they have ideas, and I think some of them are even really great ideas, but they're just not sure where to go. And that's where the Inventors Assistance League is just a little bit different, because they not only reach out to inventors and organizations who work with inventors, but they're very easy to approach. They will get on the phone with you. They will answer your emails. They will, evaluate your idea to see if it's even something that can be patented. So I think that's a benefit of working with the Inventors Assistance League, that they have the ability, they have the expertise, they have a patent attorney. We do have a patent attorney on our board of directors. So, I mean, we have the folks who are qualified to be able to take your idea and review it, analyze it, and find out if it's something that can be patented. And if it can, we're here to walk you through every step of the process. So I just wanted to touch, Jeremy, real quick on, well, what happens after I market my idea? Is that something that, once the idea, the invention or the idea gets patented, is that something? It's not just a one-time deal with IL. It's you become a member of the organization, and when you become a member of the organization, you get to have hangouts like this where we interview our inventors. You could potentially be a guest on our TV show that we're going to be hosting every Friday. And we have the Inventors Assistance League Google Plus community. It's an open public community where our members and non-members go and share ideas with one another. So there's some added benefits to becoming involved with the Inventors Assistance League, above and beyond just getting your invention patented and evaluated. But there's a community behind the organization that really, our mission is to help inventors succeed. So I just wanted to let Jeremy take the table and go ahead, and if you have any additional insights you'd like to share before we end our broadcast.
Okay, I'm ready for any questions or anything else.
Yeah, well, just do you have any additional comments? If you had one tip that you would share, or one insight that you would share with our viewers and future inventors, what would that one tip be?
I would say that the main one I would have is be sure of your commitment. You have to have commitment in this thing. You can't simply start off with kind of a table talk idea and just kind of do a little bit here, a little bit there, and just kind of let it drop. If you're serious about what you're doing, you've got to be really committed to it. And you've got to, first of all, you have to have commitment, and you have to have knowledge. That means you've got to go through that inventor's booklet that we have, what every inventor needs to know, and then think, okay, am I prepared to do this? That's what you have to ask. And it's like going to anything else. And I say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I know the process. You're knowledgeable enough about knowing how to, you have to evaluate, protect, and market. Am I prepared to do this? This could be a 2 or 3 year process. You could go in for a long time. Some people, it may develop into a full-blown business for all you know. You do realize along every step of the way that you can do it yourself or have it done for you. But if you're going to have it done for you, of course you have to bankroll it. So that, but whatever the case, you have to be behind it. You've got to be on deck, as my favorite expression is, and you've got to be on deck at all times. You can't be down in the hole having lunch. You've got to be right up there when the storm is brewing, because there'll be a lot of storms along the way. Be prepared, be committed, be knowledgeable. That's basically what it is.
Great. Thanks, Jeremy, for those insights. I just quickly want to share, we do have a question from our one of the people watching our event, and the question is the legal procedure of all patenting the same in all countries?
No, as a matter of fact, we're dealing with people. I'm going to be going down to La Paz in a couple of months, and we're finding out there are two things you have to deal with. And I'll bring up both the Mexican system as well as the one in Europe. Now, if you want to pay $2,300 minimum just to find out to do a patent search and then get a PPA, it's good for 30 months. Knock yourself out. But the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has this real cheapy process. I'll admit what it is, but it'll work for a year. It's $65 for a provisional patent application, good for a year. That'll give you enough time to find out whether it's marketable, and you do the decent description and the search and all this other stuff. Now, that's a very simple process, but you go through the European Union, you're talking money. And then, even if you get a PPA, and it's going to be true in all countries, you get a PPA and you ultimately want to get a patent, you have to file in every country. Every country, and they got taxes. They're talking about thousands of dollars for each country. How about that one? Now, Mexico is the same thing. It is a rat's nest of laws, and most of these countries are like that. And so the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office thing it's the only one. There may be others out there, but all I know is that one is out there, and that'll work because there's something called WIPO. You can Google it out, and there's a World Intellectual Property Organization, and there are about 140 countries that are signatories, and they've got to recognize everybody else's way of patenting things. We have the PPA, $65. You can file that thing. That's good in all the WIPO countries, China included, I'll have you know, and that's European Union. So you have this protection for a year. That's enough time for you to get out there and find out whether that's marketable. So that's the route that I recommend. And that's the thing that's going to be so popular down there. They don't have to go through all these complicated laws and expense. Hey, we can file it in the U.S. even as a foreign person, and the deed is done, and they have the protection.
That's great. Thanks for those insights, Jeremy. That was a great question from our event page, so I'm glad we were able to get that answered. Just real quick, I want to let our viewers know that I just posted the invitation link to the after show in the event page. So if you have any questions, comments, or maybe you just want to come in and chat and say hello, we'd love to see you. Just to kind of wrap things up, Jeremy, in regards to the Inventors Assistance League, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience about the organization itself and how they can help inventors?
We are, first of all, a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. We're kind of like somewhat analogous to NPR. So if National Public Radio. So if you trust National Public Radio, here we are, or the National Wildlife Federation or something like that. Now I'm going to I might be out of line in saying this, but I'm going to say this anyway. I'm CEO. I'm king. What can I say? We are an educational organization, and this is kind of like down the road what we're going to be working on. We're working on taking these courses, and we're going to put more content on them. Going to create user guides and tests and stuff like that. The ultimate object is to get these courses accredited. Once these things are accredited through the National Council on Higher Education, we're working with people in Washington to do this. And hopefully in a year or 2 or 3, when I get in time to do this, what we'll do is have these courses work for 3 credit hours a shot. That means you can take the course and ultimately transfer these things into any college or university and go to the Department of Education and stuff like that. But that'll be 2 or 3 years down the road. But I want to kind of give some kind of a future direction. All I know is in the last week or so, after you've gotten your stuff up online, everything else, we're starting to get some real traffic. We're starting to get calls, and it is going to be a firestorm here pretty quick. I'm about ready to check into a nut house. There's so much respect. I'm serious as a heart attack. I don't know what poor Richard and the others, we've had to go out and start seeking help and stuff like that, but this is going to go like a bombshell. So we got to be on deck. But you guys out there, are you thinking kind of vacillating? You better vacillate over here right now so you can get the attention, because otherwise all of us are going to have 6 secretaries to take care of our appointments. That's where we're going with this thing.
Right. Well, and that's really interesting in regards to the program itself, because a lot of programs are just that. They're just programs. There's no real education or certification. that comes with those other organizations, unlike the Inventors Assistance League, where they are actively working with Washington, and they're working with several universities who at this point will remain nameless, but they're very well-known universities, and actually getting this teaching this class into at the university level. So it's something that it's one thing to be an inventor, but if you're able to access this information and become certified, you know, at that point you really have not only taken your invention and done the evaluation, the patenting process, the marketing, but you've actually taken and taught or been educated about the entire process. And you're in turn able to take that for future ideas that you might have or future inventions and turn around and educate others within your network. So I think that's a great idea for you guys to go that route.
There's something also, and I come from a software background, among other things, a computer background. And there's something called the Software Engineering Institute, and that's out of Carnegie Mellon University. And what they have this, I'm blocking on the name, but what it is, it's a process, it's a software development process. And there are 5 stages of this thing. The last stage is that it's repeatable. And that's what we've got. We don't simply have a hackneyed process slapped together, but it's, God, I wish I could remember the name. It's like C something, but anyway, it's out of Carnegie Mellon. And I should know the standard. But what it is, you start off by saying, okay, we're going to procedure, blah, 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 blah. And the last stage is that now we can export that. You follow this, and then CMM, it's called CMMI. And it's I don't think of it after this broadcast, I'll surely remember it. But anyway, go to Carnegie Mellon and see what that means. But the idea is that this is going to be a repeatable process. So you learn evaluation, protection, and marketing. Then, if you're part of an organization, or if you're an inventor, you've got a lot, you get 40 or 50 of these inventions, like these people in Mexico do. They'll have, we got 50, 60 inventions. Well, you do it once, a second time, third time. After a while, you can turn these things out like a machine. And that's the thing, if you're part of an organization or whatever, and you could be the point person in the organization. Yeah, I know how to do this. I know how to evaluate this thing. I know how to protect it. I can go out and market it. You'll be one of the most valuable persons in that organization once you're certified to do this. So that's what we'll be doing.
Exactly, and you made a very valid point. You know, when the inventor originally starts off, they may just be a one-man show. It might just be them. And that's why this program really does cater to their needs, because as their invention gains speed, they go through the evaluation, they go through the patent process, they go through the marketing portion, and then as their organization grows, they can reinvest some of their return on their investment, some of the monetary return that they've received for the invention, invest in themselves to get educated and to get certified so that they can be the go-to person in their organization when people may have questions. So I think that's a great point. Thanks for making that, Jeremy.
It's capability maturity model. I had to remember that, integrated. CMMI, capability maturity model. And you think of those words. It's capable, it's mature, it's a model that works, and it's all integrated into one process. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to do the CMMI of the inventor's world. That's what we're after.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Just real quick, I'm checking the event page to see if we have any final questions. I don't see any at this point. But for those who are watching the live broadcast, this is simultaneously being recorded to YouTube. And so what that means is if you have questions after the live broadcast, you can actually post those to the YouTube page. Or you can contact the Inventors Assistance League from their website, which is inventions.org. That's INVENTIONS.org. Or you can contact them via email, jeremy@inventions.org, or their toll-free number. So just have couple last minutes here before we go to the after show. I want to thank everybody who took the time to attend our live event today. I really appreciate the interest in the Inventors Assistance League. I want to thank Dr. Jeremy Horn for attending the Hangout today and explaining about the Inventors Assistance League, their process, their plan, and how they are able to help inventors take their invention to the next level.
I really appreciate everything, Molly, as well. I'm more than happy to talk about these things, and I'll entertain any questions that there are, within reason. about that other thing that we're talking about. Anyway, it's great talk with you, and I'll be here next time.
Great. And just real quickly, I just wanted to share some of the concerns that Jeremy brought up about, you know, it's not really just about just the idea. It's about the whole process, meaning going through the steps, going through the modules, being educated, learning how to market your invention via wholesale and retail, which we have an expert, Karen Waxman, who is affiliated with the Inventors Assistance League, who helps inventors with those, and then the digital marketing. I will comment, based on your comment earlier about the traffic increasing for the Inventors Assistance League. I have actively been working with them. I have redesigned their site. I've got an AdWords campaign and search engine optimization campaign, and I have absolutely enjoyed working with the Inventors Assistance League. They're a very professional group of people. They, as Jeremy mentioned, they're always able to be reached. They always, if they don't pick up immediately, they will return your call, your email, your request as soon as humanly possible. So I invite the audience members and people out there watching the replay that if you have an idea, if you have an invention, you just want to roll it off to someone and see what the next step is, to contact the Inventors Assistance League. Again, thanks everyone for attending today. I appreciate it, and we will see you next week for the next show of the Inventors Assistance League. Thanks, everyone.
One very quick thing. If you cannot reach us by phone, the best thing to do is send an email, because sometimes the phones may be running off the hook or whatever. Just send an email. I always have this computer on. I check my emails all the time. So if you can't reach us, send an email to Richard, you and me, whatever, and our addresses are on that website, and we will get back to you. That's a guarantee.
Yes, you can send an email to the CEO, which is Dr. Jeremy Horn. His email address is jeremy@inventions.org. You can also send an email to the Director of Sales, which is Richard Sindell, and his email is richard@inventions.org. Again, visit the website, inventions.org. And if you have questions, there is a contact form. There's an opportunity to leave a voicemail from the website, or we have a live chat feature where you can leave your message. So we are readily available to answer any questions or concerns, or maybe if you just have some comments, reach out to the Inventors Assistance League and we will get you on your way. So with that, again, I appreciate everybody who took the time for joining the live broadcast this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.
You take care, Molly, and catch you next week. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.